Good evening and welcome to Fireside Cast coverage of RGL 6's Season 18 playoffs. Tonight we have an IM match, the intermediate playoffs, upper brackets semifinals or round 2. The second seed Highlander Gaming versus the third seed, the Six Fingers of Mao Zedong. I'm M17, joined by Giblert and siyo on production. Giblert, that was a crazy match on Tuesday. How do you think it's going to compare to tonight's match?
I think this one's going to be, I at least expect it to be a bit more standard. I don't think we're going to have, fan favorite Knife in the Spine 2009, the bad boy of RGL, really throwing the extra sauce in the mix. But we'll see. I don't know. We might have some other unique players on Highlander Gaming. We'll have to see. But, speaking of which, we do have one of the top RGL admins, Mr. Plinko, on Medical Man. As well as, had a little bit of a ringer situation, I believe, on side of Mao Zedong, but looks like that has been sorted out now. So, there's kind of a little factor what do you have about these teams?
Yeah, speaking of those teams, I believe everything's been finalized, so I'm pretty sure we're good to tell you that the roster tonight for Highlander Gaming is, excuse me one second, it's Baz on Pocket Scout, well apparently normally that's Pumpkin, it's Kaio on Flank Scout, Scribble on Pocket Soldier, XP Man on Roamer, Setsuna on Demo, and Plinko on Medic.
Yeah, and the kind of interesting thing I want to point out, probably the, I mean, I don't have the statistics on hand, but gotta say, Mr. Plinko, probably, one of the older players to be playing the game at this point. It's really interesting to see the kind of the youngsters kind of competing with the oldsters. So it's the midsters. So many people in the middle these days. As the game ages. Yeah, I
Yeah, it
don't know.
is pretty interesting. Anyways, on the side of Mao, it looks like it's going to be just like Tuesday. It's going to be BBL on Combo Scout, Flume on Flank Scout, Senate on Pocket Soldier, Juxi on Roamer, Doorknob on Demo, and Ward on Medic, most likely. And the maps as well. Map 1 tonight is going to be Gully Wash. Map 2 is going to be Bagel. And then the third map, the decider, if we need it, will be Sunshine.
Yep. I also want to point out keep in mind in the previous match we casted a couple of days ago, Senate missed most of the match, showed up a little bit late to help wrap things up on Goalie Wash. They weren't needed. At the very start, we were able to get that first map win without them, but I'm sure their team will be very happy to have them today. Likewise, I'd say the person that really stood out to me was Doorknob. Definitely had some kind of issues, kind of getting separated from the team, especially for kind of the first half of the first map. But kind of after that, especially when they got to Goalie Wash, dropped the absolute nuke. So yeah, she's one to watch out for on the side of Mao Zedong for sure.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, I believe it's the scouts on the side of Highlander game. I believe you want to particularly look out for, but or I believe the scouts and Scribble maybe, but I can't be 100% sure because I've definitely seen enough gameplay of I've seen like enough of XP Man and Plinko, and they seem like solid, but I don't think they're like as like new. I mean, obviously they're not new compared to the other players on this roster, so I'm curious to see what we'll have from them tonight. And looking over the previous matchups, like we mentioned, Mao did win their second map of Gully Wash on Tuesday in the playoffs match. But in terms of the matchups these two teams have had, Highlander Gaming won both of them. The first one was in week 4B on Granary 5-2, and then the last one was in week 6B on Product 4-3. So definitely got closer, and I think Mao has cut off that gap a bit. So I'm hoping to see a really close game tonight.
What I'd really like to see from, I can't speak so much on Highlander Gaming. I haven't watched them playing quite a bit. But I can say on side of Mao, which we did watch earlier this week, I say the two things I'd really want to watch out for based on their previous matches. One, really like to see them kind of locking out the doors a lot better. It seemed like a lot of the time, just a little too passive, too slow to get to those choke points, kind of lock down things, and then kind of allowed that very chaotic team led by Knife in the Spine 2009 to really just like flood through a lot of the doorways, create a lot of chaos, take some fights, and I got punished for it sometimes. So I think that's one key to victory right here. I'd say the other thing, just it felt like, especially compared to the other team, which is maybe a bit over aggressive, it did feel like Mao was maybe a little bit lackadaisical, a little bit slow to move on some of the advantages. So I'd say those are the kind of two keys to victories. One, just kind of keeping the pace moving when they have these advantages to push off of, whether it's numbers, just even something so like positioning, Uber advantage, whatever it is. And the other thing, like I said, just basic, fundamental TF2, locking down the doors, getting your basic spots, that kind of thing. And like I said, can't really say too much analysis on the side of Highlander Gaming. Haven't seen them quite as much, but I mean, there's kind of a lot of recurring problems in a lot of IM teams. So I'd imagine that they have some of the same issues. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to have some of those similar issues. I know in terms of the record, Highlander Gaming has only lost 2 matches to their only matches lost have been to the first seed team this season, Quake Academy. So they're definitely a strong team, and I'd say they're definitely favored tonight. But because of that catch up, and I think that change that we saw from Doorknob, I think will mean that I think Mao does have a chance. I think I'm still going to favor Highlander Gaming here tonight just because of those previous 2 matchups, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this go to a third map decider, like crazy, crazy close score at the end. But I think I personally want to predict Highlander Gaming 4-2 on this map. Do you have any predictions for this?
Also, I wish I could be a little bit controversial and say something different, but honestly, that sounds pretty accurate to me. I feel like it's going to be a competitive map. I do think Highlander Gaming is going to come away with about 42. I think that sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, and we're into this first mid. Ward takes a lot of damage early, so did Plinko, but they're both going to get up their side very easily. Juxie's the only one on the ground. Here comes the bomb from Juxie. Is going to get the kill onto Plinko, and there was a counter bomb, though, and Doorknob just went huge, getting 3 kills there, and the frags definitely favored the side of Mao. They're going to clean up the point. They did lose their medic, but Ward is going to spawn with the rest of their team, and Doorknob is already setting up aggressive traps in lobby with BBL capping up second.
Yeah, I mean, just pretty chaotic mid right there, but a lot of times it does just come down to, some people putting out the big damage, and, Doorknob absolutely did that mid. Yeah, keep in mind, this looks like we have a little crits going on the side of Mao Zedong's 6 fingers. They are on crits. We'll have about, 8 to 10 second window to work with right here. Crits in the last is a little bit unusual, and, will be maybe a little bit tricky to clear the gun, but they do have the element of surprise here. Of course, you have to make sure to get in before the other team has Uber, so really here it comes. I think it's hiring out, but really just hasn't caught anything with the Uber, or with the crits, I mean. And just, that's going to be a completely wasted crits. Just didn't quite see exactly what happened there, and you got to be careful. There's kind of a counter stack coming lobby by XP Man. But yeah, looks like not a whole lot. And it looks like Plinko is going to have the Uber, so kind of curious to see if HLG pushes out here. They do have the pretty much full ad, and it does look like they will try.
Yeah, Squirrel taking a lot of space already. Doorknob is watching the trap, but she's just going to back out. It was really nice play by XP Man and really good timing there. He just pretty much just stuffed them right on the balcony or launch pad right as they were about to peek it for the crits. And it just absolutely forced Doorknob to back up, which completely stuffed that situation. But it is even Ubers here, but remember that Ward is still on that crits. So it's a very awkward situation here. You might want to you could potentially use directly in here. This might be just on the side of Mao, something they have to do. But right now, Mao is just playing kind of passive. They're kind of content to force something to come in. Here comes the aggressive crits. Doorknob does get a kill onto Baz, but the aggressive counter Uber comes out. I think Doorknob might get out. Doorknob is going to get out alive through choke, is going to get bowed up. So it's a 6 versus 5 in favor of Mao, and there isn't really enough of a lockout. Setsuna tried to lock it out, but does get caught from Big Door as well. Juxie is going to get that kill. Flume gets a kill onto XP Man. Kaio gets a kill onto BBL, but now it's just Plinko and Kaio because Baz was dead, was a spawner.
Oh, and a little bit of a
spoon.
Oh, and another one! Takes down Plinko with a shovel, gap it off there. And, kind of like we were talking about earlier in the pregame, just, it's recurring issues. You see with a lot of teams in IM and main and below that just not really locking out the doors in time. And that time we're, just able to take advantage of that one pick, walk through an open door, And then now Mao Zedong in a very good position if you're a blue team fan.
Well, importantly, there's a crit, but Baz just gets
Crits
the
comes
headshot on
out.
Doorknob.
That's one way to neutralize, but gotta watch out for the crit rockets. Couple coming from back balcony, and actually one does take down XP Man, but it's gonna be still doorknob down. And looking at the Uber situation, it actually does look like, you know, there will be still a little bit of crits ad on the side of Mao Zedong, so they actually do have another very small window to give this another try.
Yeah, I don't know if they realized that specifically because Plinko was too busy like buffing everybody up to max over here. Remember, if it's below 142.5% health, that's when you stop building at that max rate. So, you know, that's a very high number, 285 for soldiers, 250 for demo, 178 for scout. But you can be, especially if you overheal your players all the way up to the max, it can be very easy to start building at a lot slower rate. Though they do get Uber, so it's not going to be anything crazy. I think... Yeah, Mao is just deciding what they want to do for now. They're still discussing it. I think, yeah, they're clearing out this launch pad now. Looks like Doorknob is about to go. This time she just pre-stickies it for the impending XP Man shove and is actually ready for that as XP Man just backs up quickly. So we'll see how this transpires here or where this crits comes in.
Gotta be really careful watching for this sticky trap on lockers. Does look like they see it. Soldier bombing the balcony again. So Sat coming in. Oh, it gets the drop onto Plinko. Senate making their impact immediate with that drop. We'll see. I do sense a push coming imminently. I do like the move to kind of wait a little bit. Yeah, wait for those buffs to fade. Now in. But, oh, and some lock and load. A 1-2 taking down both soldiers, it looks like. And now making a lot of spaces to walk in. And this looks like a round on the side of Mao Zedong. And once again, ironically, on the blue team. I don't really get that. But anyway, regardless, that is round one. First blood for blue, the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong.
Yeah, well played by them on that crit. And then they somehow were just ready for those 2 soldiers, and Doorknob just hit some nice pipes, and that just secured it. Especially if you lose picks early holding your own last, and you just go down a few players, that just can almost like guarantee the loss, even on a map like Belly Wash. As we're going into this next mid here, neither team really seems to be doing anything crazy. Scribble did go for an early bomb, but fades onto his own side. Here comes the bomb from Senate. Does a lot of damage with the help of Juxi, and they absolutely nuke. Juxi gets a 3K. Senate gets another one. Juxi gets a 4K, and they get the wipe on the side of Highlander Gaming. Very well coordinated and just very well executed double bomb from the soldiers of Mao.
Yeah, it kind of felt like just on the side of HLG, just a little bit too clumped up in that kind of that back closet, or not closet, but a corner area, and just massive nuclear damage for the projectile classes. Got to be a little bit careful though. Juxi on the best position, and is going to go down there, but they do have a lot of time to work with, so they can wait for the spawn a little bit, or they go for the super last push, which I think they should. They have plenty of time to buff up. Would like to see them go and get in lobby though, just make sure clear everything, be careful. Just delay a little bit for their spawner, and then can take this in, I think.
Yeah, and this is interesting. They have Baz on heavy, looking like, I think Baz is going to hide in secret with Setsuna still in water. And then this gun is super aggro, but I think Senate spotted it. Yeah, and he's just going to spam it down early. And here comes the aggressive Uber in from River. They are going to cross the top right. BBL killed the other sentry. They know about the heavy in the secret area. They get that kill. They do end on the top right side, but it isn't like a huge amount of picks, although they just absolutely collapse on the rest of the players on the top right side. And now it's just Kaio and, Setsuna. Kaio does get a kill, goes down.
And another
just
shovel.
gets the non-crit spoon to finish off Setsuna, and that's 2 rounds for the side of Mao.
Yeah, I mean, it's really huge mid there. I do want to see HLG try to get out of that back area on mid a little bit faster. Otherwise, I imagine the soldier's just going to drop nuke after nuke on them. But yeah. Oh, keep an eye out. We got a rocket jumper by Juxi here. Juxi feeling the spoon, looking for some other shenanigans. Oh, also has a shotgun. Onto him immediately with a shotgun. Gets flushed down the drop down, not enough. But Setsuna does go down to the cleanup, and it's looking like another good mid on the side of Mao Zedong's fingers. And then, yeah, wow, almost another perfect mid. Just got to keep an eye out for this last soldier, play close to the med. Gets a rocket. Scout, got to watch out. Coming up the side. Is it enough? Mao does get Ward does get the health back, so they will be fine. And yeah, wow, another dominant mid on the side of the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong, and chance to go up 3-0 on this key first map.
Yeah, I did not expect this to be this dominant. You know, Highlander Gaming got to make sure they handled these mids. I guess maybe they just like they thought they had the plan for the mid, you know, not to clump up, which is definitely something you want to avoid on Gully Wash, but on the Gully Wash mid specifically. But they just got maybe completely thrown off by the fact that Juxi went shotgun and rocket jumper, and then Flume decided that he's just gonna flank their choke and went all the way through the big door, and that just I believe. And it just absolutely messed with their plan. Here comes the double scout Uber through the shutter. They get the gun early, and they are already going for cap time. Flume does get a bit of cap time, but not very much. And the kills are definitely favoring the side of Highlander Gaming, although Juxi does get the kill onto Plinko. Ward did also go in and die, but since it's going to be the same spawn time, it's going to be about even Ubers, but Highlander Gaming will gladly take that, and they will get back onto their second and try to deny as many of these spawners as they can to make sure that there's no fighting happening. Although there could be a potential refight. Doorknob maybe was thinking about it, but decides against it. It's just setting up traps.
Yeah, I think in that situation when the demo's like holding water like that, or with the traps there, I'd rather just like do what they did in the previous last push, just kind of fight the people outside and then crush that guy later. Because the way that kind of last push kind of played out, the scout wasn't really doing a whole lot, just kind of like trying to get some cap time, but wasn't really able to. And then the rest of the team just kind of lost the team fight from there. So I think what they did the previous last push was great, and then that one just kind of didn't do the same thing and didn't work out for them.
Yeah, when the players are out of spawn on the last and they're there to fight, you know, take that fight. Just take the fight on the players who are there, and then you can let the players in spawn just sit in spawn. You don't even have to worry about them. You know, why take the fight to them when they're in such a good position there? But it's just going to set up as an even situation here, and Flume has swapped onto that sniper. This is something I was expecting. Flume gets a nice headshot onto Scribble already with a very nice angle. I didn't expect that, and already gets a headshot onto Setsuna as well. He's going to catch a bow, but this is going to be really annoying as Juxi is there to protect Flume for now. There's also a big pressure from the side of Mao through choke, and Highlander Gaming down that soldier. I don't think they're really in a good position here. BBL's really doing a lot of pressuring. They get this drop onto... They kill Baz before the Uber exchange comes out. Flume does go down on Sniper, but there's a lot of space here for the side of Mao.
Yeah, gotta be careful. This demo man almost gonna go down there. Does manage to sneak their way back to the shutter, but all the high ground on the side of Mao Zedong and clean up that last kill on Scribble there is gonna secure that point for them.
Yeah, and it's back to this even Uber situation here, although this time it's right back on Highlander Gaming's last. They don't have enough... They will finally set up a gun, I think, just because Mao does not really want to push yet, because neither team has Uber, so both teams are just going to comfortably build up their Uber, figure out how they want to address things. Setsuna still does have this trap in Shutter, but Mao is very aware of it. Oh, but did not clear the other trap, but very lucky that Setsuna wasn't watching if Flume gets away with that and clears the trap. And we'll see those lobby traps in short and clear those, which will allow his entire team to take control of this lobby area, and that'll allow them to more effectively pressure last. This sentry is so aggressive by the shutter. This is really interesting. I feel like it should be a little bit further back, but interesting. But besides that, everything is standard. There's just an NG, no other off classes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is an unusual sentry spot. And yeah, it kind of goes down pretty quickly as well. And also at the same time, you know, still getting 2 picks, and we're actually getting forced in lobby, and I think she's gonna have to retreat here. And yeah, didn't quite see what happened there, but yeah, losing 2, completely okay, but just need to be out of the lobby a little bit faster.
Yeah, just like you said, they just stayed in lobby way too long, and Scribble was just like, okay, I got a kill on the soldier who was spamming down the gun from River. I'm just going to go flank through River and just flank through the stairs and got the free force with all that damage. And is going to be staying on last, I think, maybe scared of a spy, as the rest of this team, the team of Highlander Gaming, is going to push out. XP Man doing an early jump, a lot of damage on the choke, and that's actually going to help secure that fight. And Scribble is just comfortably staying on last. They are really scared of this back cap. Which is a little bit interesting, but they do still have a 40% Uberad. Flume is back up on Sniper, though, in the forward spawn, and Doorknob's got some nasty traps set up, or trying to set up some nasty traps on this point area here, trying to catch Highlander Gaming off guard. We'll see where they like to go, but if they take too long, they're to lose their Uberad.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like we talked about earlier, it seems, you know, maybe just a little bit too slow to use the Uberad. Oh, and KO getting shot by Flume. And it looks like we have a pause right here, but kind of like, yeah, as we were saying earlier, just we kind of saw it from the side of Mao Zedong, and we're also kind of seeing on the side of HLG. Just a little bit slow on some of these transitions to actually push their advantages. Kind of a whole lot of just kind of stop, let's cap together and go. When that could have been a lot more fluid, just leaving one to cap, continuing to move that uber advantage with momentum forward, popping through maybe, and then maybe trying to get that midpoint. But kind of losing KO now, and uber advantage is now gone. Now in a very awkward position as this could turn into kind of a trade right here with on the side of Mao Zedong, and then probably a team fight win given they have the better spawns.
Well, something interesting to note though as well is while Highlander Gaming has most of this point capped, Mao also since Flume got this headshot kill on the scout of Kaio in Big Door, Juxi has decided to shove Big Door and is moving their way through Big Door. So maybe that's going to be a flank to some sort of pressure there. Could be just bringing themselves up into river just to cut off exits or what have you. There's a couple of different things they have, and Senate is a little low in this Big Door here, so probably will need a bow before he really wants to do anything. But besides that, I mean, I also see XB Man's a little bit low over here in the choke, which is a little bit awkward, but it might still, even with this positioning, it might be Ward getting forced early here, but I feel like this Juxi positioning is going to be really nasty, and I don't think Highlander Gaming are really aware of it. We'll see how this transpires when the pause ends.
Yeah, and of course, Plinko needs to be very careful here. They do have the sniper and forward spawn. Doesn't really have the greatest angle here from this position, but just something that definitely needs to be on the radar if the sniper decides to poke its head out.
Okay. Well, I see we have some interesting food decisions here. For those of you who don't know, this is something called Scrandle. It's just a little thing we'll do when we have got some time. Sayo also needs a little bit of help with this, but
here we go. We're back on pause, back in action, and yep, the trade does come out. No one else going down for but a Flume shooting XP Man as I burped, and then trade's gonna be pretty even on both sides. Plinko surfing away pretty far back to Big Door, and then the doorknob pipe, gotta finish him off, and then can't really lose a lot right now. Only 2 left on the side of HLG. Do need to reload my HUD. Take away for a second, M17.
Yeah, of course. It's just going to be Mao quickly deciding they want to go Shutter. They're already bringing their combo in with BBL. There is a level 1 gun setup, pretty aggressive, but that quickly goes down. Both soldiers on the pipe here for the side of Highlander Gaming. A little bit crazy, but I think that's going to mean they'll have some time to set stuff up. Yeah, it looks like they're going to have time to set up this gun while Mao still gets Uber. They gotta, even though they did kill the medic, they only have a bit of an Uber ad, or it looks like actually they have like a 50% Uber ad, maybe even a little bit more. So they have plenty of time to figure out where they want to go, but they're definitely going to play it with probably only like a 30% ad, I would assume. Already Flume going into water, trying to go for the little hiding spot, as here comes the Uber from Mao in the river.
This time they actually do get the cap time and are able to kind of flush this person that's not seeing the heavy Baz coming out of the claws or the lower area, and then getting a lot of info. Oh god, watch out for the point! Flume, lose track of Flume, and then just able to cap from under their noses. And it does look like I had a pause right there. Probably a bit of attack pause after going down 3-0, I assume, on the side of Highlander Gaming. But yeah, I mean, looked like they kind of scattered quite a bit. Looked pretty good on the side of HLG. They had the heavy in a good position to kind of block the point, but then Flume just able to cap.
Yeah, and Flume really did get a lot of that, like winning that fight on that soldier really did help. This time XP Man going up drop down, and there's a distraction bomb from Scribble, which does help, and XP Man is able to get that kill. But both soldiers go down, and Juxi also went up drop down. Doorknob also with a nuke there, along with her soldiers combining, and that is a full wipe again from the side of Highlander Gaming. I think maybe if Scribble had just gotten a bit more aggressive there and the rest of the team had walked forward, it might have helped. But yeah, like, they keep losing track of this, losing track of the Juxi going up drop down, and this has hurt them 2 different mids now. And now it's back on to last. It is going to be an even Uber situation, so it's definitely holdable for Highlander Gaming. But this is definitely not where they want it to be as the higher seed, and I believe this was their map pick too.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the Flume maybe go for Sat, come up Sniper. Flume has been having quite a lot of success on Sniper so far, so I think that'd be a pretty solid way to break the stalemate here. We'll see what they do, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
Yeah, XP Man's still pretty low, just trying to do a lot of damage and prevent them from really getting too aggressive at that launch pad area. But Doorknob is comfortably
Oh,
there.
wait,
There actually is the crit! Oh, look at this!
Oh, hits 2, gets Plinko, gets Itsuna. Doorknob does go down, but that's 3 down on the side of HLG. Even we were caught off guard by the crits. And then, as long as they can focus down this heavy, they should have a round here. Going up 4-0, the flank from Senate through water, and that's going to be 4-0, a commanding lead on the side of the Six Fingers of Mao Zedong.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I'm very surprised about this. I don't know, maybe if it's just they don't, like, maybe what's happening is, because I know Pumpkin is their normal scout, so maybe it's just Pumpkin is main calling normally, and since when you don't have your main caller, that can definitely throw things off. So maybe that's what's happening, but it just seems so uncharacteristic considering they'd only lost 2 matches the entire season. They just decide, we're going to go the other team's side. We want to change up this mid pace here. There's already a bomb from Juxi getting a lot of damage, able to get that kill into Plinko. The trades are definitely pretty even, but I'd say they're slightly favoring the side of Mao Zedong here. Kaio gets 1 kill. Doorknob gets a bunch of damage, but Matt Flume is going to help clean that kill up. Setsuna gets 1, but it's against 2 scouts, almost unwinnable, and is going to go down. And the mid was again won by Mao. Did they win every single mid so far?
I'm not quite sure, but yeah, pretty overwhelmingly they have been winning mids. I think you might be right. They might have won every mid so far, and definitely, and not just that, but the way they've won mids. With aside from these last 2, they've been keeping their meta alive for a couple of them. That's definitely allowed them to kind of rack up a couple rounds here. And I'm actually kind of surprised, considering they've had so much success with the crits, both meds dying at the same time. Just kind of surprised they didn't come up on crits this time. But maybe that's the surprise, not coming up on crits. So, and it looks like already, maybe they've, on the side of HLG, might have lost track of the Ubers a little bit, because they're playing so far back. It looks like they don't know that it's even right now. And, I think if Mao Zedong's a little bit more aggressive, they could have just walked in choke and just had a point for free. Does look like it's going to even out, and does look, but as we say that, as it evens out, they go for the push now. A little bit slow, and it's right as HLG comes forward, so they're going to clash into each other. A lot, space trying to get made through this choke. Trades finally do come out, and Mao's hasn't really been able to flood and really spread out here. But we do have a slightly better Uber on their side. Now chasing them back to the shutter. A lot of kills back and forth, but fading in such kind of a terrible position on low ground. It's going to be kind of a bloodbath now. And only 2 deaths on the side of HLG. And oh, watch out! That's Atsuna with a nice pipe to take down Juxi.
Yeah, and Kaio and Flume trading, but Setsuna getting another kill there. That's a full wipe on the side of Mao. Yeah, that looked really sketchy for them when they had so many players from the side of Mao getting through choke, but I think Mao just maybe overchased a little bit, and they let Highlander Gaming collapse a little bit too strongly, and then because of that collapse, it just helped give them too much of an advantage in this push. Juxi does do a bit of an early bomb on this choke, trying to delay the push, but Highlander Gaming has a nice big Uber ad, so they're just going to build that up and probably push off of that. I wonder where they're going to go. It looks like I was thinking they might be transitioning towards big door, but it looks like they're still going to go choke. They're just figuring out how exactly they want to do that. But there's 2 soldiers here close at choke.
Yeah, I do like the decision to go choke. Generally, I got to watch out for the a little bit split up right now. So they're going to go down pretty early and not going to get a whole lot out of it. And that's going to be kind of just 1 for 1 as Doorknob takes down XP Man as well. Does buy enough time at the very least, even out the Ubers for last, so they will be okay in that respect. But yeah, I do like the decision to go choke here. I think that generally about largish ads and think you can maybe take it for free. Choke generally the safer bet in my experience. So yeah, now even, and now kind of the chance for HLG to get back on the board, start evening this game up a little bit.
Yeah, something smart that Setsuna did is he just set a trap right at choke, which is a common thing you do pushing Gully Wash second, because you predict that soldiers could potentially either come up from really high, they can kind of like sink onto choke, or they can just drop from right above, which is what Juxi did, but that trap really helps. There was a spy, but gets spotted out by BBL and instantly deleted from the server. Very tragic there from XP Man, and so Highlander Gaming safely is going to back out, although they don't have their heals up top in River, which is a little interesting, but they do still have, I believe, enough traps on this choke. Setsuna's kind of alone here on the ground, but I think it'll be okay, because it doesn't look like Mao really want to do much, although they do have BBL on Sniper because Flume is on NG. He takes a shot, isn't going to get much, and is just going to back up, but they have Juxi hiding, and Doorknob is trying to do a bait play here. He's trying to make it so that, you know, Highlander Gaming don't clear that corner, but I think Juxi just decided better to rub it, and they just jump out. So there's no more of that bait play there, and it's just going to turn into that sack situation that we should be expecting.
And taking a little bit for HL to get it set up here. Also going down really low, just getting kind of isolated, not really getting the beam there when it seems like they kind of needed it. So that's going to buy a lot of time on the side and open up an opportunity. As we say that, though, Doorknob going down and Juxi going down, 2 projectile classes down, it's going to open up something, and got to be very careful. And yep, Kaio going to go for the little bit point time, draw some attention from center. I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression from outside of HLG, but this Pyro making it really hard to spam down this gun. So really good reflex on the side of Beeble to keep that gun alive and kind of stifle that attempt right there.
Yeah, and it was well played from them because that along like that holding it like the Pyro and the NGA held the gun down, and then just the one soldier Senate was able to lock down the that little circular rim on top of the point, which is really important to get a soldier to stand on when they when the enemy team sends a scout through water, and that was just enough to hold on. And when you don't have that third explosive class, especially when there's a Pyro and an NG tank, like Pyro protecting and an NG tank in the gun, it can be really hard to get that gun down. You really need spam from multiple different directions. They are trying to spam down that gun again, but again, there's a lot of counter spam here that they're going to have to deal with, so they take a lot of spam early. Kaio did go into water, but Senate is ready for that, has that 300 HP, and is cleanly able to be just chilling up there. BBL using his shotgun to clear some of these stickies. But Highlander Gaming still trying to figure out what they want to do. I'm surprised they haven't done like a 2-person sacking for this point, especially because like even though Senate is going for the point, you could potentially have a soldier bomb on, you could potentially bring a Pyro out and try to help reflect. There's multiple different things you can do besides just going for the gun, but it looks like they really want to go for this gun.
I think a lot of point time, and they just cap it. Just kind of caught napping a little bit there. Who needs to sack when you can simply just walk in and cap the point? Wise move by HLG right there to simply cap the point. Who needs a sack of nonsense?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I thought they were going to keep spamming the gun, but they were clearly one step ahead of me. And now we're going out to this next mid. I did take a peek. So Mao has won every single mid so far. So Highlander Gaming has to change that up if they want to, you know, keep this going. Although Juxi gets caught on the ground. Scribble is going to get that kill, but does quickly get traded out by Flume. XP Man does a fade bomb, but Senate goes in for another bomb. He's just going to jump out. But Doorknob gets a pick onto Baz with a lock and load. That's going to be dangerous. And Flume is going to get this kill into XB Man, and so 5v3, that's going to force, Highlander Gaming to leave. Setsuna and Plinko were trying to leave safely. Setsuna got the kill into Senate, who was trying to catch Plinko, but Doorknob finishes off the kill. That is brutal for the side of Highlander Gaming. Now, Mal is just going to take their time, play that Uber ad, and they'll probably be trying to push into last with the super ad shortly.
Yeah, kind of surprised to see HLG didn't go for the aggressive, like, their side play again, because I mean, it worked out so well in the previous minute. At the very least, kind of saved them from being that uber disadvantage situation again. So now, kind of back to another last defense, as you said. But yeah, kind of surprised to see them play that, and it just kind of seemed like the mid was like kind of disconnected there, just weren't all doing the same thing at once. And now up to Mao Zedong to try to put this game away, or at least this first map away. As, you know, do gotta be a little bit careful. The Uber advantage is dwindling. It's down to only 8 seconds now as they do come through the shutter. And then not a whole lot of kills. Bomb behind the Uber, not able to get anything, and gonna get cleaned up. That's an absolutely huge pick, as well as Kaio going down on heavy, not able to backspawn in time. And this is looking like map 1 in favor of the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong as they get on the point, and that'll be it. 5-1. A nice little attempted comeback by HLG there. You know, did get caught napping on that one round they lost, but nonetheless, once again, you know, after winning pretty much all the mids, another dominant victory, or a dominant map on the side of the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong there. So really well played Golden Rush, and I don't think either of us expected it to be that dominant. And then looking at the stats, wow, just only 5 deaths for Flume, and only 5 deaths for Ward. So what you want to see if you're a fan of the Six Fingers of Mao Zedong. Did have a couple pauses, so keep in mind DPMs are going to be just slightly lower than expected because of that. But yeah, I'm looking at Doorknob also. Kind of as we said, player to watch out for, going 19-6 as well, almost 300 DPM, only 200 taken. Yeah, I mean, so just the main like demo and scout classes, just doing so much on the side of the Six Fingers of Mao Zedong. And then it looks like in terms of death departments, definitely Plinko, much more deaths than Ward did here. And to be fair, a lot of that I think does come down to the mids, but and that's not necessarily a medic thing, but potentially a team thing because their team got kind of shredded on pretty much every single mid there.
Yeah, when we moving on to the second map, yeah, like you said, I mean, I wanted to also point out that Flume took less damage than Plinko, which is something you definitely want to be careful of when the one of your players takes less damage than the enemy team's medic. It kind of means that you're able to, like, especially with all that damage, Flume was putting out a lot of impact while still barely taking any damage. I know part of that was the sniper, of course, but it was definitely clearly working out for his team. We'll go on to this map 2 here. I don't know if it's just like maybe they're just kind of shaken up, or maybe they just not having Pumpkin there is like I feel like it's got to be that like they just don't have their main color there, and so they're just not really, they don't have maybe enough experience to do, or nobody is really able to like properly step up to main call, because I don't know. I mean, also the mid fights, like losing those mid fights are really brutal, and you do not want to be losing that many mid fights. Did they lose every single one? Yes, they lost every single mid fight, which is something you cannot let happen because, I mean, mid fight is that first even fight, and if you're losing it that often, it's just giving the other team a free advantage that they can have every single round.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a little bit less punishing on Bagel, kind of just given the nature of the map that, it's so much more easy to retake the point rather than, getting pushed to last where you can just lose the round after round after round, get snowballed over and over and over. So maybe, might buy a little bit of time on side of HLG. That said, if you're right that if it is true that Pumpkin is their main color and they're not here right now, that'll definitely be pretty big impact, I imagine, since just kind of coordinating like the pushes out on this map on Bagel without kind of that main color you're used to is definitely good. It would definitely be quite painful. So I definitely say that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that'll be different on Bagel, because like on 5CP, often you still want your main caller, but like also on Bagel, the main caller can really help to coordinate. But if you do have enough vocal people, it potentially can still be okay. Like especially on this map where soldier pressure in these houses is really important to taking point. Um, it might be okay if your soldiers are vocal enough, but it's I will have to wait and see honestly. This was the pick of Mao, and Highlander Gaming picked. Excuse me, they picked Gully Wash, so this is not something that Highlander Gaming uh, is not really in a favorable position here. They have to win 2 out of the 3 maps, and one of them wasn't their map pick.
Yep, and could you remind the viewers what's the third map?
Oh yes, sorry. If we need the decider, it will be CP Sunshine. Sunshine.
Yeah, so also another quite different map. We had the first one being a little bit more projectile focused, this one being a Koth map, and the last one being like one of the classic just scouts run over everything kind of maps. So definitely like really good map variety here. So really hard to kind of predict what's we're gonna have on we could see a completely different kind of map, but then again, as you said, this is Mao Zedong's pick, so I'm sure they feel pretty confident on it. And kind of like we said, kind of coordinating these push outs without a main caller or without the normal main caller. I imagine if that's what HLG is going through, it's going to be quite difficult for them.
Yeah, and looking at this next map here, I think they're just figuring some stuff out. They're still talking right now. It looks like, yeah, there's only one person on the side of Mal that isn't back in the server ready to go, so we probably will be getting started here shortly. But I mean, I did see Flume practicing that sniper in pregame, but this is not really a known very well, like a very common sniper map. I feel like this is like the one map where you see sniper the least. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Flume like on sniper at all. But if we get to Sunshine, I can almost guarantee that Flume will be back on that sniper because it worked so well on Gully. But I yeah, I don't know if they'll change that up. Maybe we'll see some chaos here. I don't know. Maybe we'll see some wacky off classes, some like BBL, NG, or Pyro, because he does have a lot of Highlander experience. So maybe we'll see something like that. But no guarantees. I am curious to see if any of them try to do anything crazy. Um, yeah, anything could happen. I mean, I am curious.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I think I definitely agree. I don't expect too much sniper, but I mean, like I said, on the side of Highlander Gaming, as you said, is in the name Highlander Gaming. So could see some funky strats. We'll see if maybe if they decide, okay, well, because we're missing a player, what we usually do isn't working. Let's do something new and unique. Maybe we'll see like I've seen a couple teams on Koth run like Gunslinger NG, things like that. Heavy, of course, is a classic. So I don't know. Could see something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. But you know, expect the unexpected is what I'm saying. On the other hand, I mean, I wouldn't say any like off class is particularly good on Bagel. So, and I mean, I think soldiers are pretty important for controlling those houses. So I would definitely say it's. I don't really know what you would really off class because just like with any Koth, having scouts is important, but then also the soldiers need those to lock down the houses. So I don't know. I don't really know how you effectively off class on this map. I mean, I guess there's a reason why we don't see it very often.
Yeah, I mean, I've maybe seen a little bit of Pyro with a soldier switch, but I feel a little bit odd about switching to soldier on this map because soldiers are super important. Like, especially if you kill, since normally the pocket soldier holds their own left house and the roamer is the one kind of responsible for watching their right house generally. Obviously, that's not like a hard and fast rule, but that's generally what teams do. Uh, if you keep track of your respective soldier that you're facing off against, essentially, like if the pocket soldier keeps track of the enemy roamer, and the enemy roamer keeps track, or the roamer keeps track of the enemy pocket soldier, you can kind of get a lot of free like flank opportunities, like either just to flank or just to pressure and draw a ton of eyes, or just to get aggressive and coordinate aggression through those houses. That's what that house control is super useful for. And so going down a soldier in those houses can be very detrimental to your team. Especially not even that, but it's just also you can get some really effective spam on the point. So you got to be very careful about not having soldiers on this map, like you said. And I'd be very surprised if we see any off classes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd also say another thing that's got a little bit of a change of topic, but one thing, kind of as you mentioned before, that uh, kind of on the side of both teams struggled a little bit to really get in position to lock up the doors. And I mean, being Bagel, the forward hold is not as it's not as tough to break out of as is on something like Product. Is more kind of an opportunistic thing that it's not necessarily as important on this map, but still that same concept can still carry over to like just making sure you're in the right positions before the other team pushes in, so you're not caught out in weird positions. So that is just something I would like to keep an eye out for, just both teams, how well they get into like their defensive formation as the other team pushes in. Are they doing it in a time where they can cut out, that kind of thing? And so definitely saw some of that from both teams on the previous map. So we'll see how it goes on Bagel.
Yeah, locking out doors is super important just in general because it just means, free extra spam if they try to push back in, like you said. And I think both teams were really trying to abuse that. And I think Mao was just really successful with that. But you have to make sure your explosive classes, your soldiers and your demo are always ready to, as soon as you or as soon as you like take control of a point, it's not even necessarily about capping the point. It's often about just locking stuff down. But I don't know if we'll see as much of that here besides in those forward holds because it is Koth, but we are going live onto map 2 Koth. Highlander Gaming is down 0-1, and this is Mal's map pick, so here we go.
It looks like, pretty just standard, just kind of spamming back and forth at the start of this mid. Nothing really too crazy happened. Kind of passive position on side of HLG. Oh, they do have the flank, and we do have the mini-century injury from Beeble. And kind of, the flank is kind of just spotted spotted out by the mini-century. The mini-century completely stifles that push through house. And then that's 3 down on the side of HLG, getting their own kind of the Highlander strats used against them, it looks like.
Yeah, this is something I did not expect, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, Highlander Gaming has to break through this hold. It won't be as hard as other maps, but you do still have to be careful. There's only one soldier on this left door because Juxi is trying to play that main door and Doorknob's on the right side. XP Man does do a nice jump through the right and forces Doorknob off, but Senate got to kill him to Scribble, which is going to help Highlander, or is going to, excuse me, help Mao lock this down. Juxi gets a kill onto Kaio. That's a little bit scary. XP Man goes down, and Juxi is behind, but I don't think they realize where Juxi is. Yeah, Juxi is going to come back and kind of cut off the exit here.
It's huge, so much damage in the force.
Force on the Plinko.
Yeah, also watch out for this level 3 sentry gun, or level 2 sentry gun in the left house. People went back to spawn, switched off the gunslinger, built the level 2 sentry, then teleported back to the front lines to set up this, you know, we talked about, like, you know, if you, when you're off-glassing, how do you hold these houses? It's like, okay, yeah, sentry gun. And the sack wave coming in, but gotta be really careful. The sentry gun won't deny it, but the rest of the players will, and only kind of a two-man sack wave, kind of not really super coordinated. Oh, as I say that, XP Man able to get Flume and Beeble taking down the NG. So didn't look like the best sack wave at first, but XP Man with a good salvage right there, able to get some high-quality trades there. Unfortunately, not going to be a whole lot as far as the spawn advantage. Nonetheless, it will give them enough to kind of make sure they can't get forward hold, get out here, and kind of take an even fight now.
Yeah, I don't know if Highlander Gaming know about this sentry in this house. Here comes the aggressive Uber from the side of Mao. Highlander Gaming is going to use in response. They did have to flash a little bit more, but their Uber was used later, so their Uber ends after. They do successfully control the point. Senate and Senate is fighting this left house with the assistance from BBL's gun. Mao recaps the point very quickly. That's something again that's very common on this map. This is a very fast cap, so you can expect to see the cap change hands very, very frequently, you know, almost a dozen times, if not more, per round. Scribble gets a nice kill into Spencer. Ooh. And Senate gets a kill into XP Man. Flume gets a kill into Baz. Juxi gets a kill into Scribble, and now it's just 3 players left alive. Plinko desperately trying to run away with Satsuna, meeting up with Kaio, but that's 3 down, and Mao's just going to go forward, and BPL might even be able to get his gun set up. It looks like he's not trying to set up his gun. He's just trying to leave it in this really nice angle where you could just have only a little bit of the gun shooting over the top of the stairs, so it can be difficult to hold. But Highlander Gaming tries to bust through right. They do kill Kaio on scout and get the force onto Plinko, but luckily they get the counter used. But down 2, this is really tough for Highlander Gaming.
This didn't look too coordinated pushing out there, kind of like, again, kind of like we're talking about earlier in the pregame. Just didn't feel like they're all kind of together on that push out, just kind of bleeding a couple players on the way out, weren't able to break forward. And then, yeah, it's going to be a pretty dominant first round for the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong.
Yeah, it was definitely very dominant. They capped like once, I think, and they had it for like 10 seconds, so that's not something you want on the side of Highlander Gaming. You know, this is the 2nd seed going in. They were 14-2, so you got to be very careful about this. Or, I mean, you got to be very concerned about this, excuse me. We're going into this next mid. BPL is back on that NG, on the mini sentries, so we'll see if anything transpires there. Damage definitely favoring Mao here. Highlander Gaming took a little bit too much spam, I would say, at the start for their liking, and Mao is already going to be pressuring the point off that.
Yeah, keep in mind, mini sentries, you know, able to build a second one. It just kind of like gives a pretty safe fallback area and kind of stops the flanks. And also it's just really annoying. Satsuna, though, does have that lock and load, which will make it a little bit easier to take down. And the XP Man making the trade in the house. And looks like Highlander Gaming kind of flipping the script a little bit, is kind of sort of winning this mid, able to get the first cap. How long it lasts, kind of hard to say. Are able to get the block here. But taking a little bit of damage from Senate in the house, who does have control of that right house from the red perspective. And the trade does come out here. Looks about even so far. A few more people in this trade, but kind of a nothing burger trade for the most part. Kaio a little bit low, and that health advantage is gonna give Mao the point there.
Yeah, but excuse me, Highlander Gaming is quickly trying to refight this, but Plinko took a lot of damage, so he had to go back and get a pack. As here comes that refight. XP Man gets absolutely juggled in the house by that sentry gun from BBL. Very nasty. Gotta be careful with that. And Highlander Gaming is quickly seeing the value of that nasty sentry spot. Senate is pushing this house flank. Do they realize on the side of Highlander Gaming they are getting a lot of cap time? But here comes Senate. He's in on Plinko. He does not get the kill. Plinko barely survives, but the pack isn't here because Senate took it a little bit ago. XP-Man tries to spam the gun from BBL, and Mao retook the point, and so now they're already down on time, and here comes the aggressive Uber from the side of Mao, and Plinko does not have Uber, he's 85%, and he gets killed by the Uber, and Ward is safely going to surf their way out. Flume might die here, it looks like Flume will die, but getting that med pick is so huge on call, and here comes the potential all-in maybe? It looks like they were thinking about it, but they decide against it.
Yeah, and losing Doorknob there, absolutely huge. Really good pick. Just kind of on that counter aggression, just identifying Doorknob, a little bit isolated there, not getting the beam for a second, and then able to get that pick, which will allow them to kind of get their med back in the fight, as well as maybe book a little bit of time off the clock. Very close round so far.
Yeah, definitely a lot more what Highlander Gaming were hoping for, not getting absolutely destroyed. This time, Mao is going to retake that point. BBL very low, is going to get picked off, trying to leave a little bit aggressively, and because of that, here comes the double Soldier Bomb from the side of Highlander Gaming, and they are able to get both Ward and Doorknob. Baz gets a kill onto Senate, and now it's just Setsuna who's going to get killed on this left side here. Kaio does clean up Flume, and it's just Juxi left alive, taking the fight onto Kaio, but with the support of Baz, is going to go down. And Highlander Gaming feels like the first time they've really been in control of this entire map, and they definitely are. They have the point, and they have that 60% Uber ag, which they are building quickly to maintain and make sure they don't lose. BBL already shoving through this house, getting a mini sentry set up in there, and I wonder if XP-Man will get caught by that. Hopefully not, but it looks like Kaio spotted that, so I don't think they'll get caught out, but here comes an aggressive bomb from Senate onto Plinko and gets the force.
Yeah, I mean, just got to be a little bit careful now, backing out, kind of kiting to this right side. Oh, just got to watch out for the Soldier coming in on the left. Juggles Beeble forward so far. Could go down here. Nice little NG surf back to the dispenser. Is going to live there thanks to the dispenser, able to get back in the fight. And just got to keep an eye out on this Uber advantage on side of red. It does look like they'll kind of turn this into a sack wave. Send the two, then them coming later. Would have liked to see that synced up a little bit better. And it's going to be kind of like a 3-man sack wave, and that mini sentry is going to be kind of hard for that scout to follow up. So not going to get really anything. Actually, really good job on the 6 fingers of Mao Zedong. Everybody's staying alive here, which that does mean they get the opportunity to forward.
Yeah, and it looks like here comes, Scribble trying to get through that left door, is going to get quickly killed. XP-Man meets the mini sentry. He is going to get the kill. Setsuna actually gets the kill on the BBL, which is going to help. No more minis, but Juxi flanks through the main doorway. Tons of damage onto Plinko and does get the force, and they might even get out here, and they do get saved by Ward, actually. Interesting there. You might have just let your soldier die, because now you're not going to chase anything. Kaio is on a 5k, does get a kill there, and with 2 down, that's going to prompt Highlander Gaming to push and try to collapse on this team. Baz gets a kill into Flume. It's now just 3 players alive on the side of Mao. Kaio does eventually go down, but Ward was safely able to get out. Juicy gets a kill into XP-Man, I think trying to chase, but with Ward getting out, that's definitely helped their cause, although Juxi does go down by to Scribble. Send it very low, is going to have to get bowed up, but it's a 5 versus 5, and this point time is decently even.
Yeah, really close right now. Just keep in mind, Plinko has a little bit of Uber advantage, but kind of gets caught in the corner. The bomb coming in from Senate, taking down Plinko. Just a big solo play right there. And this mini sentry kind of already in a really annoying spot on this crate, drawing a lot of attention actually. But do got to keep in mind, Senate is going to be down for a little bit, so one of these houses is open, and but the heal's not quite there, just now rolling out. So, and oh, a huge sticky kill onside of Doorknob, sniping down XP-Man. And this is going to be all but the finish of the round, as it looked like a much better round for HLG, but a couple of key salvages by Juxi, or Senate, I mean, and then yeah, able to close that one out. So looked like a really close round, but then I think it really all changed when Senate got that one kind of just solo bomb onto Plinko, kind of right in the middle in front of the stairs, got the quick 2 or 3 rocket, and that completely changed things and allowed them to win that very close round. What could very easily have been a 1-1, now kind of very commanding 2-0 lead on side of Mao.
Yeah, I'm taking a peek at these logs as well, and it looks like right now the dominance is from the Mao soldiers. They are absolutely farming on the side of farming Highlander Gaming. They are doing tons of damage and barely taking any in return. So that's definitely helping their cause, especially when you push houses consistently and you're able to, constantly threaten the med with different, pressures from the flank and whatnot. That's going to be really annoying. XP-Man is trying to take this 2v1 onto Juxi, but Juxi takes like no damage and just backs up as XP-Man has to run away, lick his wounds, and Flume's going to get a lot of cap time. Juxi gets a kill onto Scribble in the right house. There's the cap. Setsuna very low, does get bowed. Flume is trying to chase and get that follow-up kill, but luckily for him, he's going to survive. And Highlander Gaming is going to get their Uber, and they're going to wait for Scribble, who's going to get back here to respawn. And I'm assuming there's an Uber exchange coming in here shortly.
I kind of really wanted to edge the point to look like there, but just taking a lot of damage. And now, yeah, kind of the aggressive rage is going to come out on side of Mao Zedong. It's going to be a 50-50. Kind of denies a little bit of space, but as I said, the Syndra gun's going to go down, which is going to open up a little bit if they want to reaggress. But just so much damage being taken on the side of HLG. But as I said, Flume going down to that pipe, and Ward kind of out of position. Scouts running between them, and then the soldier follow-up, and Doorknob not able to really protect the med there. Not that it's their job in the first place. That's going to be a little bit of a crumble, and really good regression on the side of HLG there to really just punish those people that are out of position post-Uber. And Baz finishing the dispenser right there. And now...
So crucial. And Flume
Evening
is
up the
onto
diamond.
the sniper. And he is already quickly spotted, though, by Kaio, so I think he's just going to decide, you know what, I've been spotted, this element of surprise is gone, I'm just going to go back to scout. But that is something important when you are down an NG, especially when the NG BBL was fighting in the left house with his soldier. When your one scout dies, you have no scouts to protect, and so Highlander Gaming took advantage of that and got essentially a free bomb onto Ward. There is still a 20-ish% Uber advantage on the side of Mao, and they're slowly trying to work this, this point time. There is about a 10-second time advantage on the side of Highlander Gaming, but Mao just caps the point, and so now this is definitely favoring Mao, as Highlander Gaming is trying to pressure and retake this point. And XB Man gets a kill onto Senate on the right house.
Just gotta be really careful. Taking a lot of damage here, trying to edge this point back and forth. And the trade does come out. It's disconnected a little bit. And Plinko doesn't have the Uber to trade, so he's going to kind of unintentionally milk that, intentionally or not. And now, massive advantage, but they did get Setsuna and XB Man, which, you know, two projectile classes on this map, absolutely huge. I would be very cautious of getting too aggressive here. As the bomb comes in on Plinko, Plinko able to hold on to it for a little bit, but does end up popping it in the end. And no one else is really on the Uber aside from the one scout, so I don't think they're going to be able to get much else out of that. Nonetheless, Wood's still dead, Juxi's still dead. It's going to be enough for them to hold this for now. But pretty long spawn on side of Kaio, so that will make this next fight quite difficult.
Yeah, BBL Sentry is going to go down. Definitely still a 20% Uber on the side of Highlander Gaming, but since they just got a spawner, I believe, yes, that means that Mao has a little bit of advantage fighting this point for now. BBL goes down. That's going to be a huge pick for Highlander Gaming to continue holding the point, although, as I say, that Doorknob gets an Iron Bomber kill onto Kaio. That's 5 versus 5 there. Plinko very low. He's going to have to back up and get a pack. And that means this time is definitely starting to even up here for the side of Mao. Flume very low, is going to get back, is going to back up a bit with Doorknob and also get healed, and that's going to allow Highlander Gaming to get the point back. Although Senate does get the kill onto XB Man on the right house, or in their own respective house there. Setsuna gets a trade kill onto Flume, but the double scout aggression from the side of Highlander Gaming kills Doorknob, and Flume is not there, so they just are able to get super aggro. Senate gets a kill onto Baz, but the force does come out from both teams, but Mao used first, so they're going to have to back their way up. And Highlander Gaming is definitely okay with that. Juxi is alone facing Kaio in this left side, but does get out and has the support of their scout Flume. But Highlander Gaming is in the lead for the first time, I'd say, so far this map.
Yeah, kind of like you're saying, yeah, just really good getting aggressive off kind of that sentry and like kind of an awkward like building stage, just running down at Doorknob that it's only one scout to protect. But yeah, Plinko got to be very careful here, getting taken down a little bit low, and bomb coming in as Plinko gets the pack. Oh, and Senate with another bomb onto the med, able to get it. And then Scribble also going down at the same time. So just got probably want to avoid denying their soldier spawn if they can here, and it does look like they'll be able to step out for a second. But as I say that, Ward goes down at the same time. The flank from Baz, unseen. Kaio as well, also behind. And will look like a really good situation for Mao to kind of swing this round back and forth. It's now become disastrous as right as they cap, Beeble and Ward go down there.
Yeah, and that was some good pressure from Kaio in the other house, knowing that the soldier was dead, so he's just able to take a lot of distraction, was doing his best trying to distract to allow Baz to get some sort of playoff, and getting that mid is definitely what you want. 20% Uber out on the side of Highlander Gaming, and even though they don't have the point, or they do have the point, it isn't completely secured for them yet, but it is a big advantage, I would say. Setsuna gets Flume already. Kaio gets a kill onto Senate. Juxi and BBL both get kills of their own, but there's so many low players on the side of Highlander Gaming. Oh my goodness, Juxi with a nice air shot.
It's a direct on the scout, has a chance, extending the round here, and they do have the demo for a little bit of the area denial. Oh, still playing the corner so well, Juxi killing Kaio there. And they have the teleporter, actually, so they're able to get to the front a little bit faster, taking advantage of that teleporter. So, oh my god, what a play by Juxi there. The air shot onto the med, and then that kind of just low health corner play, taking down the scout, extending the point, and now a big chance to go up 3-0 as it's anyone's ball game right now. As, only 30 seconds left on the clock. Of course, it is Ricci. They are on Tenpai on the side of HLG, so all they need is pretty much one more cap to win it.
Yeah, it is on that overtime, so they just need to cap one singular time and they automatically win. A lot of pressure in here from Scribble, doing a lot of work on this left house. Got to be careful about the initial shove from Juxi, although BBL has this level 2, but it's really, really passive, and that allows a lot of pressure to come out on this point. And they just cap right under Mal's nose. I think that gun was just maybe a little bit too passive, and Scribble was just given a little bit too much freedom in that left house to help spam down, and Mal was just too passive, and that lets Highlander Gaming cap the point, and they get their first round on call.
Yeah, I did sense maybe a little bit of desperation to kind of block the point. Just afraid of that point time, but kind of rather than taking just so much damage, kind of clumping up a little bit, and then just bleeding players, and then not much you can do at that point. But yeah, it's still up 2-1 for Zedong, but HLG, showing some fight right now.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty even here. BBL has swapped off that NG. He's back on the scout. I'm not sure if that was just they want to change up the pace. They don't feel comfortable with the gun. We'll see. Or maybe they just feel like it'll work better for them. But there's a 2-person shove in this house here onto Senate. He does live. And PBL comes in and just cleans up XB, man. Plinko very low, but at 90%. But he's going to have to... He is just going to stay here. Very passive with this team. Even though they're down 1, this is a little bit scary here for the side of Highlander Gaming. Very low on multiple different players. Baz gets a kill onto BBL, which is going to help, but Baz goes down. And I think that's going to spell the retreat of Highlander Gaming. And Plinko gets caught here, is going to get palmed. Luckily, he did use because Senate air shot him as well. Oh my goodness. And they're not able to get anything. They're not able to get the force out of Mao. They did get a bunch of picks, which I think is going to help them re-aggress once their players get here. But their players are not ready. Scribble is still very low, has to get it back. And here comes the aggressive Uber from Mao.
You gotta be really careful here, but I mean, down 2 soldiers, no real kind of long range follow up to really cut off those exits. So are gonna kind of just be able to walk their way out there. Gotta keep in mind also, Scribble down for a little bit longer. So one of these houses is open. So on side of red side, yeah, playing really passive already. So it doesn't look like they'll get flanked at the moment. And now as their soldier gets here, now they have kind of those eyes on the left house, willing to be a little bit more aggressive, starting to take the fight here, but maybe clumping up a little bit too much on the point. Oh, and Senate just going for the med once again. It's worked out before deciding to go for it, and kind of a sack wave coming in as Plinko actually able to doing pretty good dodging and gets an arrow kill onto Juxi. So that time, much better protection around the med there. Plinko able to get his own kill, get a little bit of revenge on those soldiers, and now really good situation for HLG. As they have Uber and able to establish this kind of soft portals, and somebody died on that.
Yeah, this is definitely going to help their situation. They are down about 25 seconds on this round. Juxi with a nice triple rocket to actually get through. Tries to go for a spoon, maybe a little too overzealous there, but actually getting the force there is Setsuna with the spam, and XB man is going to go down. But here comes the counter Uber from the side of Highlander Gaming, but they're a little too slow. They are going to catch out Flume here in the house, which is going to mean it's a 5v5, but I think Mao will definitely be okay with that because there's not enough explosives. They're down, Highlander Gaming is down a soldier, so they just flood right on through. Senate is already through the left house, does a ton of damage, gets the kill onto Plinko and onto Baz, and lives! Oh no!
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, just the soldier bombs are getting so much value. You just, I feel like they're not being spotted soon enough, and they're just not being cracked quite well enough, because even it's not really synced up with their team. It just feels like the soldiers are kind of able to bomb in from these kind of slightly off angles and then just get so much more damage than they should. So really something that HLG has to watch out for going forward, I think.
Yeah, you really got to make sure as a scout, or just both your scouts and your medic have to know where both soldiers are, and if you don't, that can be a big deal. There's a big double bomb. There's a 3-person sack in from the side of Highlander Gaming. They get both the demo and the scout. They actually do go for the 4-man sack, and they get both Ward and Doorknob, which is going to mean that they're going to be able to break through this hole eventually once they get their Uber, I would assume. Although they are down 40 seconds on the round timer, which is a little bit scary. Especially because they only have like an 80% Uber ad, but not enough players here since Doorknob is dead for Mal to forward hold. So yeah, Highlander Gaming just walks right on through, and they're already going to be able to start pressuring, and we'll see if they're able to potentially catch Ward out here too aggressive. We'll see if that happens, but no guarantees.
Yeah, once again, kind of seeing maybe a little bit too much partying on the point. Just a little bit clumping up here. As you see that, the bomb, the aggression comes out. Uber is forced out successfully. They do get a pick at the same time. Doorknob taking down XVN, some kills getting traded. But Doorknob, it does go down to that Uber. Getting 3 out of that Uber, not a bad trade at all. Just something got to be aware of, just because the timer is not in their favor. They can't afford to leapfrog the point back and forth here. Otherwise, it will hit 0 on the side of Zedong much before it does for HLG.
Yeah, and Senate actually staying alive there for a long time, maybe dying a little late, but also pretty much meaning there's no pressure on these doors at all. So Mal just completely walks through and takes that space, which is definitely going to help once Senate respawns, because then he'll be able to fight with his team in this 6 versus 6. Here comes the aggressive Uber from the side of Mal. They try to get the medic. They do not kill Plinko, but Juxi does kill Scribble. That is 1 kill for their constellation, but not an insanely high value Uber, but they at least got control of the point there. Ooh, that's a little funny. Thanks, I'm gonna go behind fan. Anyways, and Highlander Gaming will be pushing through with their Uber shortly, although XP Man does go down to Doorknob.
Yeah, really big pick right there. And as you say that, taking advantage of the, being down that player, decide kind of get aggressive while they're kind of meandering a little bit to this top right. And just before the Uber comes out, players start going down, just taking so much damage. And it's just so split up that, really kind of just feeling the discoordination from that. Even just that one player going down makes so much of a difference, even at the IM level. And it looks like, unless they can pull out a miracle here, Juxi sealing the deal with a spoon under the med, a couple other kills, and that's going to be it. Going up another commanding 3-1, and once again, on Tenpai, just ready to win this map. All they need is that last tile to seal the deal, 4-1, and seal the series, which would be a very surprising upset if they manage to pull it off here. But still, quite a bit of game left to go. Just, it feels like bleeding some of these players on these pushouts is kind of killing HLG right now, as well as just kind of some better protection around the med. Because, like I said, these single soldier bombs just getting too much value right now.
Yeah, for sure. They're getting way too much value for how much damage they're taking. They're getting way too much spam damage, honestly, as well. Here comes an aggressive left house shove from the side of Highlander Gaming. There's 2 people there to meet it, though. Senate forces XB Man back, and he's still behind. And Kaio is still kind of fighting there. Setsuna gets a kill onto Flume, and here comes the aggressive bomb from XB Man. He does get a rocket onto Ward, but Ward gets the pack. It's now a 5 versus 5. A lot of space for Highlander Gaming, but they do have to back up because they're kind of low, and Scribble is actually very low. Is going to get pushed on the left house by both soldiers. No soldiers alive for the side of Highlander Gaming, and Mao is definitely going to start abusing that. Zenit is going to go in for a kill. Flume flanks the other house and forces Plinko. Very nasty, and there's still soldiers behind. Zenit is going to get out. Juxi does go down, but Ward is very happy about staying alive with their full Uber ad, even though Mao is down 1. XP Man does get a kill onto Senate, but here comes the aggressive Uber from Mao, and they are going to catch out Plinko.
Yeah, just gotta be really careful. I mean, chasing that deep, gotta be careful not to get recollapsed on after the Uber, and does look like the recollapse does come. Gets a couple players, but, fortunately, if you're a fan of Mao Zedong, or his fingers specifically, then the Ward is able to get out and will hold on to a little bit of Uber advantage. It's not a whole lot though, only 25% Uber advantage is going to be basically just a dry fight for quite a while now. So just something that HLG, as long as they keep that on the radar that they're down like 20% Uber advantage, they're completely fine. Just stay here, play this dry fight. Just got to be a little bit aware when it does get a little bit closer to that Uber time.
Yeah, we're just getting into this fight here. Still 20% Uber for Mal, like you mentioned. There's a little bit of an aggressive shove here from Highlander Gaming in this house over here. Scribble tries to go behind, is going to get the pack, and that's going to allow a lot of pressure coming in from Highlander Gaming. Mao is going to aggressively use their small Uber at here, and they only pick off XP Man behind, although Scribble is behind, and so is Baz as well. Baz gets a kill onto Doorknob, and Plinko is going to stay alive, but he actually drops to the Jukesy Bomb. Oh no, or no, Plinko only had 98% Uber still, excuse me, but still, that's a brutal death there. And that's going to mean that Mao is definitely in the driver's seat for the rest of this round, or for now.
Yeah, time is pretty similar, but as you said, the 30% root advantage, could if this allows him to win even one more fight, will swing it very heavily in the favor of Mao Zedong, who's again, I got to point out again, is on the blue team, ironically. And Doorknob getting the pick there on Kaio, however you say their name, very key here. Going to buy a lot of time. Just losing even one on this map is just so significant, and it's going to make it so hard to aggress. I would have liked to see them, trying to get try to get aggressive off of that, because there's really not a whole lot you can do playing a slow fight on Bagel when you're down a player that early for free. So, I mean, just kind of sitting here, not really doing a whole lot, but it's just bleeding so much time off the clock. I would have liked to see them maybe take that dry fight before they have the Uber, and now it's a little bit too late because now the Uber is in the hands of Ward and not in the hands of Plinko, so they have to be very careful not to get caught out by it. As Plinko 85% kiting back, but the scout goes down. Soldier meets up with Plinko, able to keep them safe for now. And they do have the Uber, but down 2 players right now. They use it. They need to get a lot out of it, and one player gets dropped out of the front, just kind of juggled away. An XP Man split up, and trying to Uber down 2 players is just so risky unless you're absolutely sure you're going to get massive value out of it. And that time they did not get massive value. In fact, Mao Zedong got massive value out of it. And now they're almost just seconds away from winning. 30 seconds left on the clock. And it's looking kind of dire on the side of HLG right now. HLG able to get out though, so still able to kind of make a dry fight happen. I do want to see them get pretty aggressive here. They'll have a whole lot of time to work with. They'll have a whole lot of time to really chip away at it. And just one death could be the end. Senate going down to XP Man right there, and they do get the cap. So that's really big from Mao Zedong. But kind of that late death by Scribble could be so big. Just going for the one-on-one with the scout, not what you want to see there. So important at this point for them to be alive, to help defend the point, spam the point. And now, because their doors are wide open, it allows Mao Zedong to go for the flank, deep Uber through the house, and Plinko going down just with 5% away from the Uber. And that might be game right there, unless they can pull out a huge salvage right here. The recap comes from Mao Zedong, Flume taking down Baz, and a couple individual fights back and forth. It's a little bit of chaos at the moment as Mao Zedong smells victory. And then just almost, a little bit of the cap time, extending the game a little bit. And it's up to XP Man with Plinko to see if they can make a miracle happen right now. But I don't think it's going to be enough. It's XP Man jumping away, trying to do what they can. And that is going to be almost dead as Baz running for it. And that will be game right there. Another pretty decisive map on the side of Mao Zedong. First 5-1 on Gollywash, now 4-1 on Mao Zedong. M17, are you surprised by this? I know I was talking for quite a bit, but yeah, what do you think of that?
No, I'm incredibly surprised, honestly. I did not expect this to be such a dominant win. I think, like you said, it's got to be. I think it really does have to be like not having the combo scout, and they were just losing track, like not getting enough value, denying these soldiers, but also just. I think they just felt off their mojo without their main caller. I think that's got to be it, because it did not, like, I felt like this even would have been like, even if Mao won, I thought this was going to be a lot more even if Mao took the victory. But I feel like Highlander Gaming was like off their mojo or something. They just seemed really off. They seemed really split. They were losing stuff a lot. So I think it really was, losing that main color. I think I'm taking a peek at these combined logs as well, and but yeah, and also just overall because of it looks like, yeah, no, the explosive classes on Mao were just doing way too much. Juxi went 28 and 14 on that final map, or on Bagel, which is a little bit scary, especially because Juxi was roaming.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, the explosive classes definitely were popping off. Not just spam, because it did feel like the positioning on HLG a little bit clumped up at times, but also just like the bombs just were able to live for so long and get so much off. It didn't look like the energy experiment for Beeble worked out too well in terms of damage to go 6-11. Did quite a bit better on Scout, going just 7-3 for the brief amount of time they played it. And if you look at the heal order, it's two different stories here. We got Plinko giving Baz 32%, Setsuna 30%, Kaio suffering down to only 9%. And then on the side of Mao Zedong, you see glorious communism in the heal spread with 16% at lowest and 28% at the highest. Clearly seeing kind of a redistribution of wealth there. And speaking of Mao Zedong, though, producer, could you show that screenshot I put in the Discord on screen? I want to share a little bit of disambiguation for some of the viewers.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
we contacted some outside analysis using, powered by Google AI, which has never lied to me. And they're saying that Mao Zedong actually had 10 fingers, and there was, you know, at times some maybe some bad rumors spread about him, but yeah. So might have a little bit of historical revisionism here. Nonetheless, I mean is pretty shocking upset considering how dominant HLG has been this season. But yeah, pretty decisive victory. And it is double elimination, so hopefully HLG will get a chance to show what they really have when they got their full roster. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see these teams back and playing again sometime in the future, possibly later in the playoffs. M17, do you have any kind of final thoughts here before we wrap it up?
I do think we're gonna have a rematch of this. Like, if I would predict, like, even with Highlander Gaming lost, if Pumpkin is back, I feel like they'll kind of reform, or like they'll kind of regroup in the losers round. And I think the losers finals might be a really good game if both the teams meet up there again. Because I do favor Quake Academy to win the matchup against Mao on next week, and then Highlander Gaming is gonna face Can I Play in the losers round one. Uh, but I would love to see some crazy, some, I don't know, maybe some crazy upsets. But as much as it is also crazy upsets, it did feel like Highlander Gaming were off. So I feel like even if they lose again, I'd rather their loss be like, a lot closer. So they feel like they're, more back to their game. They just got, outplayed or whatever. But shout out to everyone for watching, and shout out to Gilbert for casting as well. And shout out to, of course, siyo for producing, even though he's a little bit losing his mind. But yeah, any shout outs from you?
Oh, I think about covered it. Of course, shout out to Anglerfish team. Glad to finally meet you guys in person at LAN. Shout out to Trobert for taking pictures, and of course also Sayo again for producing some of the cast there at LAN, and Plinko also, and the rest of the RGL admin team for helping put on really fun event. So that about wraps up for me, and yeah, I think we're good. See you, everyone.